Assalamu alaikum, inshallah you're well guys. So today I'm going to speak about student loans. And you may have heard recently about Plan 5 student loans, which are being introduced for undergrad courses starting from August 2023. And there's three key changes coming in, which you need to be aware of before deciding to embark on a university course. So currently, most recent university students are on a Type 2 plan, which means that you make repayments at 9% over the £27,295 threshold. So let's just say, as an example, you're a recent graduate, you secure a job and you're earning around 26k per year. You don't pay back anything in terms of your student loan because you haven't met the threshold. However, if you're on 30k, you're now above the threshold. So you'll be making repayments of 9% over the £27,295 threshold, which works out to around £243 for the year, which doesn't sound like much. However, for those of you on Plan 5 student loans, i.e. if you start your university degree after this summer, you will now be making repayments of 9% over earnings of 25k. So if we use the same example of earning 30k a year, your total repayments will be £450 for the year, which is almost double than if you're on a Type 2 student plan. I've used 30k as an example because that's what you can reasonably expect to earn as a graduate in a top firm in London, but even in a regional office, you can earn over 25k. So I think it's fair to conclude that you'll be making repayments straight away as soon as you graduate, where that may not have been the case under the old system. The second key change is the repayment term, which has increased from 30 years to 40 years. So under the old Type 2 system, if you had graduated and not paid off your student loans within 30 years, so by the age of around 51, if you graduated at 21, the remaining debt you had would be wiped. But for Type 5 student loans, it's now 40 years. So again, using the same example, if you graduate at 21, you could be making repayments until the age of around 61. And same principles apply if after 40 years, you still have outstanding debt owing, that will be wiped. And because of the increase in the repayment term, many people are referring to a Type 5 plan as an additional tax. Because remember, you retire around the age of 65. So you'll be making repayments through most of your working life. And if you're paying at 9% over the 25k threshold, that amounts to tens of thousands of pounds over the 40-year period. The third key change is around the interest rate charge. So the old Type 2 plan, you're charged interest at RPI plus 3%. RPI is a measure of inflation. So say if something today costs £1 a can of Coke, next year it may cost £1.10p, and you would say that inflation is at 10%. Because the cost of that Coke can has increased by 10%. But on a Type 5 plan, the interest charge is at RPI. There's no additional percentage, which may sound better, but remember guys, the repayment term is now longer. It's 40 years instead of 30 years. So it's very likely that you'll end up paying more than compared to a Type 2 plan. The other thing to consider is inflation, which is currently around the 8 to 10% mark. And most people aren't receiving an 8 to 10% pay increase. It's probably closer to the 4 to 5% mark. And if inflation continues to outweigh salary increases, that means that people will feel a squeeze on their net pay. On top of that, you'll have to make increased student loan repayments. So it could be a difficult next couple of years for you. Do I think that this will stop people from going to university? The answer is no. I think most people will just accept this for what it is, and they won't consider the long-term impact, although it's quite clear in my head that you will definitely be worse off under the new Type 5 plan. I just think it's another reason why people should consider alternative options to university, which is already happening because university is definitely not as popular as it was before. Inshallah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. As always, any questions or queries, please feel free to comment below or message me on Instagram.